Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a bucket of water. At the top of the hill, they found Old Bill, and the scene was a horrible slaughter. Jack and Jill had hated Old Bill. He was a rude and difficult neighbor. Everyone knew that he hated them too. Mocking them was his life's labor. Jack turned to Jill and cried, "He's been killed! The law will think that we've done it." Jill said, "Don't fret, it's his death that he's met, and into the well he will plummet." Jack was aghast. To her arm he held fast, and he begged her, "Don't do it, it's foul." Jill scowled and said, "To the rack you'll be led, to be tortured until you must howl." Jack already knew her words to be true. They would burn his flesh with hot steel. His confession they'd get, hers too, he'd bet. Or they'd hang him for days by his heels. Jack and Jill took hold of Old Bill and dragged his corpse to the well. Jill said, "Good riddance, you nasty old hindrance," and into the darkness he fell. "God damn it," Jack cried. "They'll know that we've lied. The bucket is dry as a bone." "The bucket got dropped, and the water was slopped," Jill whispered, "on our journey back home." It was the widow McGill who discovered Old Bill. He was bloated, wet, and decayed. The lawmen came round, they searched and they found a bloody knife buried under Jack's hay. They put Jack in chains and Jill was lain on the dirt where the king's men all knew her. Jack was beaten and bruised whilst Jill was abused with foul language and actions much crueler. They took Jack away to the gaol that day, and Jill they left to her shame. For 7 days and nights Jack shivered in fright. Would he die by the noose or the flame? On the 8th awful day, a guard passed his way, and Jack coaxed him into his cell. Using insults and frets, and soon the oaf met his maker. Jack sent him to hell. Jack took his keys and his coat to flee, disguised as one of the king's men. Jack stole a horse from a soldier by force. He wrung the man's neck like a hen. He rode hard to the east, on his stallion beast. Jack rode to the love of his life. He cursed fate as a fool, and Old Bill too, but most of all he cursed that damn knife. Jack found Jill forging his will. "My love," she cried, "you're not dead?" Jack shouted, "What's this?" But soon all was bliss, when Jill dragged him into their bed. Jill whispered to Jack, "I'm so glad you're back. I'd heard that you'd died of a fever. When the soldiers returned, they gave me an urn." Sadly, Jack chose to believe her. They soon fell asleep in a moist, tangled heap. Well, Jack did. Jill watched as he slept. She recalled the day when the blood had sprayed. She recalled that the old man had wept. Jill laughed at Bill's tears as he died that day. She laughed as she hid the knife in the hay. Jack and Jill ran to the old mill, and the hounds bayed for blood close behind. Jill said, "Jack, they'll soon take you back and hang you, bleeding and blind. At the top of the hill, or off this old mill, their rage flows white-hot and fast. Before they do, please hold these words true. Hear them here, the first stone is cast. You see, my heart is cold and my ambition is bold. I hated you but wanted your land. I waited day and night for the time to be right, to give life to my murderous plan. I killed old Bill at the top of the hill, and then I planted the knife. I wove your guilt like a thick, heavy quilt, and with it I smothered your life." "You bitch," Jack wept, and Jill laughed. "I've kept your cock and stones tight in my fist. And truly, I say, when the soldiers took me that day, I shuddered beneath them in bliss." Jack fell to the floor. He could take no more. His heart had been lain to waste. The king's men arrived and took Jack alive, so the mob could all spit in his face. It was Jack, not Jill, who went up the hill, bleeding and broken of heart. They cut off his nose, blood bloomed like a rose, and they tied him to the wheel of a cart. His bones they did break, and his body did quake, beneath the force of the blows. "Kill me!" Jack screamed, but there was nary a gleam of mercy in the executioner's eye. "Don't worry," he said, "you'll soon be dead, and the devil shall punish your lies." After the wheel they burnt Jack with steel. His skin did sizzle and smart. He was bound to 4 yokes, God's mercy invoked, and 4 horses tore him apart.